Well, we're actually live, so let's get this started.
Wake up, buyer payer people. It's a beautiful day. Go grab yourself another cup of joe and say hello to Jim and Michelle Rhodes on the Buy Here Pay Here morning show. Take it away, you two.
Good morning, everybody.
Hey, it must be a Friday.
It is a Friday, and people are kind of rolling in. Say good morning from wherever you are. It was a hard start today.
It's a little clumsy.
So like Matt, we talked to Maggie on the back end, and I'm like, I can't hear you. I still can't hear you. And all these like buttons and dials and gears on the soundboard, I was like, oh, that's why, because I didn't have your volume up. So there you go.
So those of you who tuned in to hear Maggie, she's here. She's waiting in the backstage, as they call it in our platform. But she's standing by to join us. So you're going to get some coaching on phone training this morning, and that'll be good. And then Michelle's going to sing us off with a fun song.
And that's another reason for a rough start this morning.
Still figured out.
Oh well, it's like this is like karaoke without the 7 drinks prior.
Yeah, right.
So it'll be fun. It'll be fun. Announcements.
Well, of course, we have our webinar next week. We've got that's on the evening of the 29th. So if you haven't found that information, let us know. We'll make sure you know where to register for that.
Yeah.
And then on the 30th, the morning of the 30th, we're marking our 100th episode. We have a number of people who have our guests from 2022 are joining in. So that'll be fun to have many of our guests pop in and join us in celebrating that milestone. So, and it's a good way to close up 2022. So
it certainly is.
So if you're listening in this morning, let us know what your wake up temperature is. We know the eastern half of the country
we have to do a weather
solid.
Report. We always do one in the morning. It's
the
cold.
Big story in the east.
Yeah. So, good morning, Emily.
Hi, Emily.
We are at an Airbnb. Different background. I know you guys you're always wondering where are they today? We're at an Airbnb, and it has like one of those really cool Nest thermostats, which are cool, but I can't program it. You can just turn it up or whatever, and because it's like an app thing, and so I can't program it. This morning we woke up, it was 54 degrees in the house.
It's chilly.
And I was like, why is it so cold?
Adjusted to Florida.
Did not want to get out of bed, which was one of the things about rough morning. So
Emily says, she's Indiana now. So I'm sorry, Leslie Hastings said she's
that's just painful.
-6. Yeah.
That's just painful. So I remember a few years back, and actually my brother and sister-in-law are on their way to Chicago right now to visit family. They're going to be spending it with my sister-in-law's family. And I remember a few years back, and those of you who live in that area that are familiar with it, it was so cold that they had like a it was a law. Was that I want to say martial law, whatever. What is that? Where it's like you were not to leave your house. It was that cold because it was dangerous. And so I remember they left the house. And they took a big, huge pan of boiling water, took it outside, threw it in the air, and it fell down as snow. And it was really cool. But he Instagrammed and like
that
Facebook
stuff's all over social media right now.
Cool.
People throwing their hot water up in the air.
Well, I mean, so Leslie, that's maybe that's something you can do. It just makes it fun for being that cold. So, okay. So 30th or the 100th episode, we also have a webinar coming up next Thursday on the 30th.
No, 29th.
The 29th. Thank you. It's the day before the 30th. Yeah. Next Thursday. And it is going to be all about closing those leads that you get via your social media and all that kind of stuff.
And our guest today,
it's board teams. Yes.
So our guest today, Maggie Pugesek, will also be
one of the
joining us as a panelist on that webinar on Thursday night. So join in if you can.
Yeah. It's going to be great. Lots of really great information. Maggie will be there.
David Norton,
Jason Goodman, and Terry McCauley.
Right.
And then we have like 3 dealers that will be there as well, kind of on the panel, so that you can, that they'll be there to ask questions. But it'll be on the same platform, so you can type in your question, and then I will be moderating those things.
Yeah.
So, that is, that's going to be a good one. And what else? Is there anything else?
Well, our March 30th thing, but
March
we got
30th.
March 30th. Save that date. We decided on our
really
next all-day live stream event.
We've got, just so you all know, we have at least 4 senior 20 group moderators that are going to be joining us
for that event. Plus Brent Carmichael, plus Steve Taylor with Carmart. We've just got a number of people.
We're really excited about that. Sure. It's going to be a lot, and that's just for like one of the panels that we're gonna have. So, everyone has their favorite moderator for 20 groups. So we're gonna have them all here. So that'll be an awful lot of fun. All right. Well, should we?
Bring in Maggie.
Bum, 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 bum.
Now the show gets more interesting.
Maggie.
You guys, it's 11 degrees below zero here.
I was afraid you were going to say something like that.
Well, my computer says 11. My phone says 12. So are we splitting hairs? But yeah.
Is it an Apple phone or an Android phone? I forgot.
It's an Android. It's a Google phone.
It's not right.
It's a thing. It's always a thing.
Oh, Michelle.
So do you have to get out in it today? I hope you're able to stay home or work from home.
Yeah, I'm not intending to leave. Even the dog was like, you want me to go out there?
Right. I mean, and there are like dogs that are a little bit more sensitive and don't like to go out without like the booties and all that, and they wear their sweaters and stuff. But I'm sure it gets cold enough that you have a husky and it's like, can you put something on me?
Yeah, it does. We have a beagle, and so he's short hair, so he's out there for like 30 seconds and he's back and he's like, let me in.
They're not meant. They're not meant for cold weather like us humans. That's why so many layers on. Hey, Maggie, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Oh my goodness, I'm so glad that we took the opportunity to kind of get to know each other at the Super Forum and just talk about stuff and buy here, pay here things, and really grateful that you accepted.
It worked out well today. Yeah. Right. So, yep.
We did. And we were talking about, we got a couple of calls that I have ready, and we're going to see if we can get through this without any technical difficulties. And I told Jim yesterday, because I know we'd had the conversation that when you speak at a lot of the different events, it's like, it is almost every time there's some kind of like, okay, really?
Yeah, it's like the Black Plague. It follows me everywhere I go.
We are going to break that today.
There's only one event that I've ever spoken with, and that was the Compliance Unleashed, Steve Levine's event that I walked on, and everything was just perfect. And I had no trouble with my audio at all. And I was like, okay.
Yeah. It's like, okay, Steve, sign me up.
Yeah, it was great.
I'm absolutely here. So, so those of you who don't know Maggie is a partner in C&M Coaching, and they do a lot of phone training for all different aspects for your business, collection, sales. I think, is that it? Yeah.
Service.
Oh, service center. Oh my gosh. Yeah. That talk about talking to someone. Typically get someone with like 0 personality. Hello.
Yeah.
They're not usually people. Yeah.
Can I help you?
And usually it's a mumble.
At least the service advisors are better than the techs, right? So you don't want the techs answering the phone. So. Sorry, we love our.
It's a catch-22, Jim. It's. I mean, it is usually like ABC Motors service.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. Right. So those need some work. But, the same thing can happen in collections calls, too. You get to the end of the day and that person's been dealing with nonsense all day long. And they answer the phone and they're just like over all of it, So that happens, too.
Yeah.
For sure.
Well, and that is a hard thing to do when you're when the phones are like a really important part of what you have to do, too. Yeah. Like, you try to deliver a service that's the first call sounds like the last call of the day.
Yeah.
But not easy.
No. And that's why the mirror is really helpful, because it at least allows you to look and see, like, because whatever expression is on your face is coming across in your voice, and the last thing that you want is
yeah. It's really hard to sound really and you're smiling. So I was talking to Bill. I think it was Bill Elizondo. Yeah, we were talking about the mirror, and he's like, "Yes, me too. I use that." So I used to run a call center. It was inbound, outbound calls for. We did events, and so we would send out about 3-4 million invitations every year, and end up having about 4,000 young people. And so it was like did all inbound, outbound, and it's so I
it's
know
so helpful. Even just going to like the dollar store and buying little like compact they don't have to be fancy. Like I have like a tall like standing mirror. It's been on my desk for 12 years. Like it would be weird to coach a call without it. I don't really coach calls anymore, but when I did, it would be weird to do it without it, or when I record my podcast, I have it there for that too, because anybody can end up monotone, and it's definitely important.
Yeah, it is. So we were going to kind of go over a couple of calls today and just and talk about some of the things, the stuff that makes good and not so awesome. So where do you want to start?
I almost feel like we should play the good call first, but it's up to you. I want to preface by saying, like, the call that I chose for like the poor call is a fairly classic example of what we hear on a regular basis, specifically from someone that's not trained. And this is one of the ever popular overseas BDCs. And I think that you can kind of understand where some of the issues arise, specifically with not only culture, but like understanding questions and really controlling the conversation is definitely missing. And it is a little bit harder to train those people. I'm not saying it can't be done, because we have stores that do well. But the good call, I think the cool thing about the good call is that it's not perfect, but it's still really good. And I don't think you've heard it yet, but it's not perfect, but it's still great.
Okay. So the call that you sent us is not perfect, but still great.
Let's roll it.
All right. So let's do. All right. It's called Scrubbed. No appointment handled perfect.
It's scrubbed.
Hello.
Hi, so there.
Yes.
Hi, this is calling from. I hope I'm catching you at a good time. The reason for my call is to thank you for giving us the opportunity to earn your business. And I see you were online looking at our financing options. Is that correct?
Yes.
All right, awesome. Well, our process here is very simple, and we would be happy to help you get into a vehicle. Let me start by telling you a little bit about our program. We specialize in helping customers with less than perfect or no credit get into a vehicle. We have interest rates as low as 4.9%, and most of our vehicles have 3-year breakdown protection plans available. Now, I just have a few questions for you to see how we can help you out here. Who will be driving the vehicle?
My husband and myself.
Okay, and do you have a valid driver's license?
Yes.
All right, perfect. And what city and state do you live in?
Deleting for privacy purposes.
All right, and how long have you lived at your current address?
A little over a year.
All right, perfect. And do you have a piece of mail with your name and your address you could bring in?
Yes.
Okay, great. Do you have a reliable source of income?
Yes.
Okay, where do you work?
Deleting again for privacy purposes.
All right, and how long have you been employed there?
A little over a month.
All right, perfect. And how often are you paid? Is it weekly, biweekly?
It's twice a month, on the 7th and the 22nd.
All right, perfect. And what's your average monthly take-home pay?
Deleting for privacy purposes.
All right, perfect. And do you receive pay stubs, or would you be using bank statements for proof of
No. I have, it's direct deposited, but they send me a check stub.
Okay, perfect. That'll work. Thank you so much. So based on the information that you've given me, as long as everything matches up when you get here, I think you're going to be a great fit for our program. When are you available to come in and work out the details? During the week or on a Saturday?
Today? Is there any way I can do it today?
Yeah, absolutely. We're here till 6 today. About what time could you get here?
Well, right now my daughter's out trying to get her vehicle fixed. Right now that's the only thing we got to go anywhere, so.
Gotcha.
Yeah. And I don't know when she'll be back. I mean, she's having battery issues, so I don't know.
Okay, that's no problem. If you want, you can call or text me back, and then if you decide you're able to come in today, we can get you an appointment set. Did you happen to have a pencil or something to write with so I can give you some information?
Hold on, let me go find one.
Okay.
All right, hon, go ahead.
Okay, my name is Lindsay. You can call or text me on...
Okay, it's...
Yep, you got it. And then could
All
you
right.
just confirm your email address for me, please? All right, perfect. I got it. And did you know where our dealership is located?
At this point in the conversation, the rep gives the customer directions, and they learn they are about an hour from each other.
Yeah. I have to find out when she'll be able to come that far.
Okay, I got you. No problem. I'll send you our address. That way you have it as well, so you can know exactly how far you are from us. But just to see where you're at in the process, I will go ahead and follow up with you soon. And if you need anything else before then, just reach out to me.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you. You have a good day.
You too.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye. Hello?
Hi, is Trevor there?
Oh. So see, it wasn't perfect. She didn't get the appointment, but she wasn't just like, all right, talk to you later. Have a nice day. She was like, well, here's my information. Give me a call. What's your email address? She confirms all the details. And then she's like, I will give you a call back to check in on you. And, basically what the customer said in that section that I deleted was she didn't really have a ride. I think that she probably was on Google and just picked a dealership that was a little too far from her. Mm-hmm. And it just wasn't going to work that day specifically because her daughter's car was broken as well. But you can hear that the rep is still like, okay, let's see what we can do to help anyways, maybe down the road, and still pre-qualified the customer. I love the value statement, the fact that they took the opportunity to tell the customer what makes them different. And then also, I like that she was kind of asking her the questions throughout, but engaging with her as she was asking. Of course, I have to delete some of it and some of it is scrambled. But, I think overall for a call where there's no appointment, it's still really good. She still did everything she could to make the person feel like she wanted to earn their business, even though today wasn't the right day.
And isn't that key? Mm-hmm. It's like, we want you to come in and, even if it doesn't work right now, but we want you to come in, try to get that appointment. And I appreciate that. I've listened to some of your other recordings, and there was a gal that you said that after the training, you go through the same basic kind of process, and it's just about being friendly, and that the rates that they were able to get appointments was just astronomical.
That was actually her. That was the same girl. And, and I grabbed that one because I think that a lot of times, like, even if you take the example of, let's just say she couldn't help the customer for whatever reason, maybe they don't have a valid driver's license and it's required in their state. She still goes through the whole process with the person. She still gets their contact info, and then she puts a plan in place to try to help them down the road. So, I mean, if that were me, that'd be the first person I would call when I was ready to buy, because I'm going to remember how they treated me. And a lot of times challenge credit customers are treated not so great, and they're kind of treated like they're, disposable, because there's so many people out there that need help. And this person in particular does not do that to people.
Yeah, absolutely.
I have questions as a former dealer myself and longtime buy here, pay here coach. I have a question, but I think I'd rather wait until the backside of we can listen to the other call.
The bad one.
The bad one. And
it's brutal, you guys. It's
not to do it. Let's listen to that, and then we can talk on the other side.
Let's do this. This is a poor sales call. No name.
It's a great day here. How can I help with the most today?
Yes, ma'am. I'm calling regarding your Jeep.
Okay.
Rubicon.
Go ahead.
Rubicon Jeep, white color.
Okay, let me take a look here. Jeep Rubicon. Okay.
Deleting about 15 seconds of silence.
Let me see.
You are dealer, ma'am? Dealer?
Yes, we are the dealers, sir. So we have here multiple options. Let me take a look here. The Rubicon. Do you have the stock number, by the way?
Yes, 347.
Let me just a moment. Let me put it back here. Okay, let me just a moment. Let me take a look here. Okay. I see here that Rubicon is not available anymore. I have another one. I have a a Wrangler Limited Sport 2014 available right now, and others in different color: gray, black, red, blue.
What's the year?
Year I have here from 2014 and 2018.
Okay, how much 2014 one?
That cost 27,000. I have 66,000 miles.
How much?
66,000 miles, and cost 27.
56,000 miles, 27,000.
Yes. I have
That's
another
a
one.
2000.
Yeah, 2014. I have another one in 25,000. This is Wrangler Unlimited, and a Wrangler Sahara in 25,000.
What's your website, ma'am?
Excuse me?
Well, you have a website to take a look at the picture?
Of course, yes.
You guys on?
Yes. Are you in the state or you are out of the state?
I'm in.
I have here, we have one that is located right now. So if you want to see it, of course, that we can schedule something here. Or we can do delivery in case if you like it. I can be in contact with you to talk with the online sales department or other they can help you with.
You guys name on, right?
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to take a look at it. Okay, ma'am?
Okay, thank you.
All right, bye.
It's a great day here. How can I help?
I just, like, even from the greeting, like, how can I help you the most? That does not make sense. That's not something like you say on a regular basis. Like, how can I help you the most? As opposed to what, helping me the smallest, the littlest? Like,
how can I help you the least today?
Yeah.
That's the word I was looking for.
Yeah.
So you guys, I of course know this because I scrubbed the call, but it took her 45 seconds to ask for the stock number.
Oh, wow.
So from the time not the time she answered the phone, but from like the time he said, that he wanted the Rubicon, including the silence until she said, what's the stock number? It was 45 seconds. I deleted some of the stuff in between because who wants to listen to silence? But 45 seconds should never be the case. It should be the first. Yeah, I'd be happy to help you out. What's the stock number on that Jeep? Just get the information right out of the gate. He didn't even ask for some of the information she provided. She's like, we got red ones, we got blue ones, we got white ones, we got pink ones, we got yellow ones. What do you want? We have it all, which is great. But wouldn't it be better to be like, hey, let me ask you some questions so that I can narrow down what you're looking for? Mm-hmm. And this specific dealership does challenged credit, but they also do good credit. Like they do pretty much the full spectrum. So they don't necessarily have to ask challenged credit questions. But if you have, a vehicle focused, sales department, then at least narrow the search down. She was just listing off everything, price, mileage. It didn't matter. She had it all. And you probably couldn't hear it because it was a little bit quiet. But when I had my headphones on, she's like moving around. There's like a rooster in the background. There's like, you can hear like Darth Vadering into the phone. And it's like, what is happening back there? Yeah. So what did you guys think about it? I'm dying to know.
Oh, I have plenty of thoughts, but I think before I go too far, one of the things you touched on there is you talked about that particular dealership is vehicle focused. And one of the things we run into, of course, in buy here, pay here is that, business models and business approaches vary a whole lot in the buy here, pay here space. Generally speaking, we try to introduce coaching that de-emphasizes the vehicle. We really try to get the customer, to come see us and knowing that. And I did a survey, a poll inside Facebook a while back, and I didn't think to fetch it before we spoke. But basically the premise of the poll was, what percentage of the customers buy the first car that they inquire about? And that's a pretty low number. So the point is, the customer's on the phone asking about cars and it's like, that's probably not the car they're going to buy anyway. And so my approach is often to try to learn more about the customer's needs and move more toward the appointment. And the idea being that we're professionals and we can help you once you get here. So I'm always trying to navigate to that place. So I think for me, Maggie, the thing I'd be interested in knowing, like, if I'm a newly hired salesperson and I'm receiving your training, like, what are the primary objectives? I know you're looking for an appointment, but are there other things that you're looking for that I'm to try to achieve if I follow a script or whatever? What are the main objectives of a call?
So the number one thing above all is establishing the connection in the relationship. And if you don't have that, you don't have anything. Yeah. That's why you can't be a dry piece of toast on the phone, because nobody's going to want to buy a car from a piece of toast. So you have to make sure that you have some engagement. And if you're not engaging and listening to them, I can't tell you how many times I hear a phone call where the customer calls up and says, "Hi, my name is Jane Doe. I'm looking at blah, blah, blah. Do you have it available?" And then 10 seconds later, they're like, "And what's your name?" They weren't paying attention. They didn't hear any of the questions. So make sure that you have a piece of paper and a pen. And when they start the conversation, write down what they say. It's not that hard. And it impresses them when you remember what they've said. That's just one thing, but really responding to them and listening to them and making sure that they feel like you're hearing them is really important. And then, of course, whatever your basic minimum requirements are, even just if it's 2-3 questions, it creates enough of a cushion or a little pat on the customer's back to feel like, all right, I got a shot at this. I might be able to get approved. Because what's the one thing customers say all the time? "I'm not coming all the way down there if I don't think you can help me." And all you have to do is ask them some questions and tell them they sound like a great fit for you, and then invite them in. As long as you've done something ahead of time, you can't just go straight for the appointment. You just can't. You have to make sure that you engage a little bit and woo the customer, if you will, so that when you do ask for the appointment, they feel comfortable with you. And then in turn, that's how you get them to show up. I don't want them to show up for your company. They don't care about ABC Motors. I want them to care about you as a person, so they show up for you.
Yeah. And I would say that, obviously the work that Michelle and I do is entirely in the buy here, pay here space. Right. So, I mean, I always tell people I've forgotten most of what I knew about the new car business from 20 years ago. I was in the new car business as a salesperson, a sales manager for a time. And so while I can understand if somebody's got both retail and buy here, pay here, that's going to affect the phone call and what we would say and what we would ask. But if you're 100% buy here, pay here, I'm wondering, what do you see of your buy here, pay here dealers? Like, what percentage of the dealers out there that you work with have the person who's taking the call is the same person that they would meet when they came to the building?
A lot of them, actually. A lot of them have salespeople that are handling the calls. Yes, some have BDCs, and that's fine. It really isn't that big of a deal. You don't have to tell the customer, "Hey, you're going to be coming in and you're going to be meeting with Jim," after they've just spoken to me for 10 minutes. You don't have to do that. But when it is the salesperson, they usually tend to just need a little bit of extra help because they're used to selling in person. And that's their niche, and that's what they're really good at. And so the phone is different. You don't have body language. You can't look at the person. You have to totally use your ears. And then you have to be able to think quickly, because you can't just dodge around questions. If they're on the lot, it's a lot easier to get them in love with a vehicle than it is over the phone. So you have to use other things and a little bit of customer psychology to make that customer feel like, again, comfortable, like they have a shot. And so it's okay if you do a BDC. I think they're great, especially if you're really busy and you're not getting to your leads in an appropriate time. Put somebody on your leads. You just have to, because where it goes without someone calling them, the more likely it is they're not going to show. And of course, I'm sure we'll talk about that next week too, but like, that's response time is huge when it comes to internet leads.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I look forward to that. I think with the webinar next week, we should have a chance to really drill down some of that, because we're really talking about those web leads. And of course, you're very much a phone specialist. And I personally come from a background where I would prefer to have a phone conversation with a customer, but we understand that many customers now, they would prefer to chat, they're rather text or whatever. And so we get that. We're going to have
to meet them where they are.
Yeah. We have to meet them where they are.
Exactly what you want to do. Yeah. And we do internet mystery shops too. So we'll go to a dealership's website and submit a lead posing as a local customer, and then we track them for 3 business days. And I also didn't pull my statistics, but we had done like 360 some mystery shops. I took this data from like 360 some mystery shops, and I want to say it was like 53% did not call within an hour. It was something awful, and the majority of them did not call at all. And it was staggering to see that you've got all these leads coming in and no one calling them. I'll pull the stats so that we have them for next week, but not great.
Yeah, no, I get it.
They're not great.
Yeah, and one of the things that I think that it's a good thing to keep in mind, especially, when you talk about our customers or subprime customers, is that to build this is my perspective, and I may be wrong, but I mean that to build rapport is all they need is a couple of yeses from you too, because they've been told no so many times, and it's just like, oh, I've got some great news. It looks like you're going to be a good fit. And they're like, really? And I like you. You're my best friend. I don't remember who it was I was talking to, but I was talking to someone the other day that is, it was I hung out with the girls last night with some of my girlfriends from here in Utah. And one of them, her husband works at a car dealership, and so we're going to got talking cars. I can now talk about cars officially. He comes home and he's like frustrated because, we had someone and they had too low of credit, and so we couldn't help them. And so there's, for the most part, unless they really, really know that this is where this is where their option is, they've been told no at least once.
Yeah.
So, just being able to be a friendly voice as well as be inviting in, and, it's like, yes, come on in. How can we help you? How can we help you?
Right. That's all they need is just to hear a couple of yeses. And that's why, even like even if you ask them a question and you get a bad answer, like say your first question is, do you have a reliable source of income? And they're like, well, I'm on Social Security. I make $860 a month. I still don't recommend going, all right, well, I can't help you, so I hope you have a great day and good luck. I ask the rest of my questions, I get their contact info, and then I explain, you're probably going to need a co-applicant. We definitely don't want to see you get put back into the position that you're in now by selling you something you can't afford. Making sure that you can make your payments and helping you get back on your feet is our number one priority. And just taking that time, even if you can't help that person. But when you can, those yeses, you're right. I mean, their bad credit follows them around everywhere. They're getting text messages, they're getting emails, they get stuff in the mail every day. Like, hey, buy this 32% interest rate credit card to pay off all your debt and be in debt for 10 more years. Like, it's everywhere. And so they need to know that we're here to help. And that's always one of the first things we try to teach people is think about the person. And yes, of course, it's your income, especially if you're commissioned, but think about the person and make that connection. And everything should work out as long as they're going to be a good fit. And if they're not, walk them through what they need to do to be a good fit.
Fantastic.
Yeah. So Maggie, we have another podcast that we do. It's kind of a long form podcast. We call it Tote the Note. It's in the Buy Here, Pay Here arena
more
as well.
serious.
I'm
usually not on it, so there's a lot less laughing.
Yeah, I would love to have you on over there because there's so much to talk about here. And I think, when I hear that, I'm just reminded when we train and introduce people to this business, I'm always telling them that, if you think about in Buy Here, Pay Here, we can help most folks. So I just kind of bring the idea that depending on our, if I'm a salesperson and I'm new to the position, whatever, if I approach every customer in person, chat, phone call, if I approach every customer with the expectation that I can help, because most I can, that's going to affect my language, and it's going to, help me feel comfortable inviting folks in. Just because if we get them here and they then end up not qualifying, then that's going to be a pretty low percentage of the time that would be the case. Most of our dealers approve a high percentage of the people who visit the building, right? So what's just all for me is like I'm navigating. We'll talk about it in our webinar next week. But as somebody who has been in the business for 20 plus years, we have seen the shift, obviously through social media and now digital delivery. It's a changing world, and I'm trying to figure out what still applies from the fundamental things that we've always done. At the end of the day, we're still dealing with human beings. And while we may communicate through a different track or channel, you're still dealing with human beings. And so the human element is still what I'm leaning on. And so I think we're that's what we can talk about next week in our webinar, because we really want to drill down and find out what does still apply from what can we still do, and kind of how can we have more success there. But we know most of our people out there, if they get them to the building and they're engaging, going to have good luck at the building. So that's what we're kind of directing. You
just got to create that relationship, and most of them will come in. I mean, especially when they really need their car.
Sure.
So I think that it makes a big difference if you just have a little bit of compassion, and I do have phone calls that would make, your skin crawl, where they're like, oh no, we can't help you with that. I'm sorry. You're going to have to buy cash. Or they'll refer the person to Craigslist. Oh, have you checked out? We don't have cars in that. Somebody has $2,500 and they're looking for a $2,500 car. Have them use it as a down payment. Why are you sending them to Craigslist?
You're right. Yeah. Well, and not to mention, just because they're not a qualified buyer today doesn't mean they won't be next month or next year.
Or they
right?
might not know somebody. I mean, and that's it could be them. That ends up being the customer you get from this conversation. It could be.
And 30% of customers know somebody who need to buy a car within 90 days. That's a lot of people. I mean, if you talk to 100 people a month, there's a good chance you could get 30 referrals just from being good at what you do.
Of course.
Yeah. It's like, oh, you want to go there. They're really nice.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Again, I think we could talk about this all day.
Yeah,
for sure. Well, we appreciate you making time to join, especially right here before the holidays. So you seem like the kind of person who's probably got all your Christmas stuff done, and so you're in good shape. Yeah, so that's all good. We're having fun over here in Utah with family stuff. But thanks for making time to tune in, and we look forward to having you on the webinar.
I'll be there.
Put a banner out there so folks can know. It's cnmcoaching.com, right?
cnmcoaching.com.
And it's spelled out C and then A-N-D.
It is. Unfortunately, C&M Coaching is owned by some guy who used to bicycle, like Tour de France type stuff, and he didn't want to sell it. So
that's okay. Folks know how to find it.
And nowadays, I don't know if you've tried to buy a website. Anything.com is like it's prime dollar, and I was like, what the heck happened? But I can get .net or .org or whatever for the $4. But
there's all kinds of different dots now.
Yeah.
There's all kinds. All right. Well,
thank you guys so much.
Around, you're welcome to stick around. If
I want to hear your song.
Then jump. But so I'm going to go ahead and put you in the background. Thanks again so much.
Hi, thanks guys.
And this is one of my girlfriends that I was with last night that's listening. Hi, Tanisha. It's so good. And that's her little baby, Maxon. He's adorable. We got to play with him last night a little bit. So, okay. All right.
What are you doing?
Okay.
What are you hesitating about?
This is not 7 drinks in. This has been a long time. And I sat here just thinking, my stomach, I feel like I'm going to throw up. No. It's been a long time since I've done this. So bear with me, and we're gonna sing something.
Everybody that's listening,
I know, right?
Loves you.
Okay, so here we go. Oh, the weather outside is frightful, but the fire is so delightful. And since we've no place to go, let it snow, let it snow, let it snow. Man, it doesn't show signs of stopping, and I've brought some corn for popping. The lights are turned way down low. Let it snow, let it snow, let it snow. When we finally kiss goodnight, how I hate going out in the storm. But if you really hold me tight, all the way home I'll be warm. And the fire is slowly dying, and my dear, we're still goodbying. But as long as you love me so, let it snow, let it snow, let it snow.
Beautiful.
When we finally kiss goodnight, how I hate going out in the storm. But if you really grab me tight, all the way home I'll be warm. Oh, the fire is slowly dying, and my dear, we're still goodbying. But as long as you love me so, let it snow, let it snow, let it snow, let it snow, let it snow.
You're welcome, folks.
Thanks, everybody, so much. Have a very, very Merry Christmas. We're so glad that you all joined us, and we will see you on Monday.